Hello, and welcome to the Fandom Forum, where we break down the details of your favorite Star Wars and Marvel universes. I am your host, Dustin, and today we're going to be going over my top 10 most fleshed out characters in Star Wars canon. Up first is Anakin Skywalker / Vader. Anakin turned Vader had one of the biggest, if not the biggest, character developments in all of Star Wars. After all, he is undoubtedly the main character. From slave boy to Jedi Padawan, then Jedi Knight, then turned Sith, then to finding the light again through his son, who always reminds him of his late wife Padme. Anakin lost his mother, his wife, and lost his apprentice all in the span of 3 years. Anakin / Vader endured so much pain at the hands of Palpatine. Luke Skywalker was a moisture farmer turned Jedi in training. Then as time goes on, with help from beyond the grave, he becomes one of the most powerful Jedi to ever live, and would go down as a legend. Luke then exiled after a great shame he thought he had brought to this galaxy and to his family. Luke later learns through A New Hope in Rey that light prevails in the trials of darkness, and becomes one with the Force, like the Jedi before him. Luke realized he was wrong, and that he was not at fault, but Palpatine was. Ben Solo, a sweet kid twisted by Palpatine to become a new Vader, only to underestimate his true raw power he possessed. He grew up a Prince of the Light and the Prince of the Dark, through his mother and his grandfather. Kylo wants to forget the past, but must confront the past to move on from his pain and begin anew. He then pays the ultimate sacrifice to Rey, and gives her his life energy. Kylo had done a lot of evil like his grandfather, yet still got redeemed like him as well. Obi-Wan Kenobi started as a typical Padawan in the Jedi Order. Obi-Wan came to his first test in killing Darth Maul, the first Sith to show their face in 1,000 years. Obi-Wan would later watch that same man he thought he killed, and watch him kill the only woman he loved, and would have left the Order for. Obi-Wan then watched as his old apprentice, the Chosen One, fall into darkness slowly. And then it was too late. He would be forced to fight his brother to the death, and would claim victory on Mustafar against Anakin, leaving him for death. Obi-Wan would exile himself to Tatooine to watch over the secret son of Vader. Obi-Wan would battle Vader a final time on the Death Star, and truly begin Luke's training as a Jedi from beyond the grave. Darth Maul was a boy who hated the Jedi, and under Palpatine's teaching would grow strong in his anger for the Jedi. Maul would come from the shadows and kill Qui-Gon on Naboo, only to be defeated for a time by Obi-Wan, getting sliced in half. Maul then survived by a sheer anger he possessed. Maul would rebuild his body and recruit his brother to help him get revenge on his old master Palpatine. Maul would fail again and again at that, and after a holocron vision he received with Ezra from Rebels, he would go to Tatooine to find Obi-Wan and finally get defeated for good by the hands of Kenobi again. Kenobi! Known as the Mandalorian, he was a lone bounty hunter only concerned about his next job. He would come into contact with an employer for a bounty unlike any other. At the end of this job, he would find Grogu, a young Jedi youngling from the Clone Wars, and would deliver him back to his people, aka the Jedi. Din also had a fear of droids because of his past growing up in the Clone Wars. Over time, he would grow to trust droids after IG-11 saved his life after being recircuited as a nurse droid. Din would go on to understand his people's heritage more and grow to understand his bigger part in this galaxy than just a simple man trying to make his way through that very same galaxy. Chewbacca didn't have a lot of character development throughout the stories, but what he did have was enduring pain, and he grew up on Kashyyyk until he was taken into the slave labor trades on Mimban. Chewie would meet Han Solo, and Luke and Leia, and even Ben Solo. Chewie would then go on to have a lot of hardships. He lost his best friend, and someone he had a life debt with, in Han Solo, before his own very eyes. Killed by the only person he expected that wouldn't, that being Kylo Ren, Han's son. Chewbacca would go on to witness Luke's death, and then he would go on to find out Leia had passed away while he was gone on a mission as well. All three characters from the OG movies were gone, and all that was left was Chewbacca. I couldn't imagine outliving essentially his kids, because Chewbacca by this time was 200 years old. Luke, Leia, and Han were all younger, like kids. He lost all three of his kids before he died. I couldn't imagine the heartbreak he was feeling, and we really saw and felt that in The Rise of Skywalker. 3PO was a basic droid that never really changed his ways ever, but the only time we did see him change and grow was in Episode 9 when he wanted...
Taking one last look, sir, at my friends.
He finally understands that sometimes we have to sacrifice for the greater good, so that the good guys can win and stop the terrible destruction of the enemies. C-3PO was created by Anakin and was cared for by all his predecessors and ancestors and close family and friends. Nothing more you can say about a loyal droid and a friend in C-3PO, and the same can be said for R2-D2, his first mate. Leia was a princess turned general. Leia became a mother and a devoted public servant. Leia would go on to create the Resistance when the New Republic did nothing about the First Order, rising to power. Leia then would lead the charge against the battle until her final breaths on Ajon Kloss, when her final act in life was to reach out to her son and save him from his own darkness that he was possessed by. Leia died a true and noble hero. Han Solo was a good kid turned street rat on the streets of Corellia, and after losing his teenage sweetheart, Kira, he would leave for the Empire, and then realize how crappy that was, and left with some smugglers, named Woody Harrelson. That was the beginning of a life of smuggling for Han Solo. He would meet his lifelong pal of Chewbacca. Han Solo would meet Luke and Obi-Wan and help them blow up the Death Star. Han would actually go on to do that again, and then settle with Leia to start a family. That wouldn't be enough for him, so to liven things up, he started smuggling again with Chewbacca, and that would only push his son away from his family in Ben Solo, and would end up years later confronting his son on Starkiller Base and die at the hands of his own son, who was so lost in the darkness. Well, thank you guys for watching this top 10 most in-depth characters of Star Wars from Fandom Forum. If you'd like to catch our next videos and listen to our next podcasts, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and also on our YouTube channel. So that's going to do it here for this channel, for this video. So please check out our future content. So have a great day, everyone. Thank you.